Hi, Stephen Watson alongside Tom Lee. We're going to talk about the 17th ranked Wisconsin Badgers taking on the Indiana Hoosiers tonight at the Kohl Center. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. on ESPN. We are here with ESPNMadison.com, and we're going to do a little 5-question preview with Tom in preparation for tonight's matchup. Wisconsin coming off a 76-66 win over Illinois at the Kohl Center this past weekend. They're 10-0 at the Kohl Center this season, 13-0, including last season. So, Tom, with our first question, Wisconsin is 3-2 in their conference right now. It goes win-loss, win-loss, win. What can they do now to start some type of winning streak in conference play?
Well, I think the thing that plays to Wisconsin's favor is the fact that they finally get a back-to-back home game. And everybody obviously knows, as Stephen mentioned just a minute ago, that they're so good at home. They just don't lose there very often. I think they've lost 6 home games under Bill Ryan in the Big Ten play during his career. So, yeah, they just don't lose at home. So I think the fact that they're going to get a back-to-back home game here against an Indiana team that might be – they're coming up, don't get me wrong, but they're just a little bit – they're not quite there yet. They're not – I think they're very beatable, so to speak. So getting them at home, all they have to do is play solid basketball. They can't turn the ball over, which they don't do anyway. Jordan Taylor, is one of the best distributors that there is, not only in the Big Ten but in the entire country, as his assist-to-turnover ratio will tell you. Just don't turn the ball over, play solid basketball, stick to the fundamentals, rebound the basketball, and don't beat yourself, essentially. And they'll get out of this one with a win, too.
Yeah, you mentioned the name Jordan Taylor. You also hear Jon Leuer a lot. Who will be the biggest factor for Wisconsin tonight as they take on the Hoosiers, maybe outside of those two big names?
I would say Keaton Ankville is the guy to keep an eye on. He's been red hot ever since Big Ten play started. He's shooting, I believe it's 57% from downtown in Big Ten play. He's a guy that's averaging 13 points a game so far in the 5 Big Ten Conference games. So he's a guy that's emerging as a third scoring threat, which I think is what this team needs, because outside of Taylor and Leuer, there really hasn't been a guy until recently that has been able to score as a third option. So the fact that you have Keaton Ankville playing at a high level, I think he's going to continue that against a much smaller Indiana team. He matches up very well. And don't be surprised to see another little pump fake, drive to the lane, and power dunk. Hopefully he'll make this one.
Yeah, now looking over at Indiana, they're 1-4 in conference play. Their first win coming this past weekend against Michigan. What does the Hoosiers need to do in order to give the Badgers a tough test at home?
Well, like I was saying with Wisconsin, whenever you come to the Kohl Center and have a chance to play the Badgers, you can't beat yourself. You just can't. You have to be smart with the ball. You have to make shots. Wisconsin is holding opponents to around 30% shooting inside the Kohl Center. So teams don't shoot the ball well. A lot of that has to do with the Badgers' defense. So if Indiana has a chance tonight, they're going to have to take care of the ball. They're going to have to shoot at a high percentage. They're going to have to stifle the Badgers defensively, which starts with slowing down Jordan Taylor and Jon Leuer, because as soon as those two get going, then it leaves opportunities for other guys, whether it's Tim Jarmus or Nankiville or a guy like Josh Gosser to maybe do some things. So Indiana really just has to play probably their best game of the year, and they have to be incredibly disciplined and get after it defensively, which, as we all know, with the the former UW and Marquette battles with Tom Crean was the coach over there, these tend to be pretty physical games, and Tom Crean really gets his team up for this game. I don't know if there's a little lingering rivalry effect in play there, but it's always hard fought. So Indiana's going to have to really play a smart, sound basketball game to get out of the Kohl Center with a win.
And we mentioned Indiana beating Michigan this past weekend, but they lost a very big player in Maurice Creek with a stress fracture to his right knee against Michigan. How difficult is this going to be for the Hoosiers, really looking for some sort of exposure and playing the Badgers, a tough team? What player is going to need to step up for them?
Well, a guy that immediately comes to mind is Christian Watford. He's averaging, I got it right here, 16 points a game so far this season. He's a very dynamic 6'9" guard / forward type guy. He can handle the ball. He doesn't play the 1 or 2, but at the 4 position, he can handle the ball at that height. You can do some things off the dribble and off the pull-up. And he's aggressive. So he's a guy to keep your eye on. He's a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams. He's very good, only a sophomore, a very highly touted guy. So he's a guy that's going to step up. But, yeah, the injury to Creek is huge. I'm curious to see how Indiana, this will be their first game since losing him. I'm curious to see if there's a hangover effect, so to speak, if they come out flat, trying to find their new rotation and how they're going to mesh together as a team. So, yeah, that's a big-time loss, and we'll see how they bounce back. But keep your eye on Christian Watford for Indiana tonight. I think he's a guy, alongside Jordan Hulls, who I haven't mentioned yet, but he can shoot the ball very well. So those two guys are what's going to make this Indiana team run if they're going to do anything so far this year.
Yeah, and then Indiana, a very big guard play type of mentality going against the Badgers, who they've gotten a lot of success from their guard play, but really it's the big two in John Lure and Keaton Ankeville under the block. How is Indiana going to defend this type of height when their tallest player is 6'9", going against two 6'10" forwards in John Lure and Keaton Ankeville?
I think it's one of those things where I don't think you can totally slow them down. John Lure has become such an animal, so to speak, down low on the low block. He's got more moves than he has over any other part of his career, and the way he's shooting the ball from outside, I know his numbers have dipped a little bit in Big Ten play, but he's still shooting up over 45% from downtown, which is pretty remarkable for a 6'10" guy. But yeah, if you're Indiana, you can't come into the game expecting to completely shut those two guys down, because they're so good at what they do and they're so versatile with the way they can shoot the ball from the outside. So you just hope to limit it. I know it's cliche, but you just hope to just make somebody else beat you. And the problem, if you shut those two guys down, then Jordan Taylor, what's he going to do? So there's not really an easy way to shut down this team, but we've seen it when the Badgers lost, that teams really get after them defensively, really get up in their chops and force them to do some things, hurry up their speed of play, which Wisconsin gets uncomfortable doing at times. So yeah, Indiana's going to have to force turnovers, but I don't think I don't know if there's really any way they can slow down a guy like John Lure, who's just playing at an all-American level too. So that's something that Indiana will have to do. I just don't think it'll happen.
That's our 5 questions for the preview of tonight's matchup against Indiana. Tom, can we get a prediction from you as far as the matchup tonight?
You want me to pull out the old Nostradamus? Let's go. I think it's going to be something about Badgers 15 points. I'd say it's going to be maybe 68, 52, somewhere in there, I'd say. Wisconsin's
won their last 6 games against the Hoosiers. They will face off again tonight at 8 p.m. at the Kohl Center. I'm Stephen Watson alongside Tom Lee with ESPNMadison.com. We'll be back previewing every single game for the rest of the Big Ten season, so check back to ESPNMadison.com.